The time for a completely predictable WoW expansion is over. No more one big bad threatening us pitiful mortals and then he lines up in a raid patch at the end and we get rid of him until yet another big villain steps up. Blizzard has confirmed that the saga is one large expansion essentially with seamless transitions, but almost certainly we are going to lose, and probably not just once but twice. We know in the War Within we lose as the Void invades in Midnight, but it seems like we will also take an L in Midnight as well, which is going to turn the last Titan into a true battle for survival. Something really bad is going to happen and the Titans have to show up in person together with Illidan and Sargeras. Everything is going to go bad. If there ever was a reset to WoW, it would happen now. So what will our first loss to a villain in WoW look like? If you wanted anything Warcraft related, Gameo has the best deals on the market that you can get with my link below. You can get almost every other game's software, and they also just added mobile top-ups for all your favorite mobile games with the craziest prices. You can also use my code DORON to get yet another discount, so click my link and get the best deals at Gameo. So WoW has been out 10 expansions and almost all of them followed a pretty exact predictable pattern. Some new big bad shows up like xal'atath, Deathwing or the Legion, they threaten us, raise the stakes, want our world, and then by the end we all team up, gather our forces, we end up defeating them by the last patch of the expansion, and then on to the next one. Well, Blizzard has actually acknowledged this in an interview, how it is no longer sustainable and how over time, people are just really not that invested, it becomes way too predictable, like we know we're gonna defeat this guy. This is one of the reasons why realistically, xal'atath seemed like a bigger threat than the Legion, even though Legion was a great expansion, but we kinda already knew we would end up beating them in the end. So when they announced the World of Saga, they told us they're trying out something new. This is why we're getting a 3-part saga, not one expansion, and they even told us to not look at the expansions as expansions in a way, but the War Within, Midnight and Last Titan are going to be like one mega expansion, and we're going to get really big patches in between. So really, it is all one big story, and transitions are going to be more seamless. I've talked about this so many times by now, but the logos even signalize this from the World of Saga. War Within shows Azeroth cracking and breaking, the ground is breaking apart. Midnight shows the planet being completely consumed and corrupted by the Void, looks like one giant void portal, and then the Last Titan seems to show a pristine Titan prison with something we're going to reveal by then. The most interesting thing though is that by the time the saga is over, WoW will be 25 years old, so a quarter of a whole century when you think about it. By the end, something should happen that never happened before, and we might just finally lose. A lot of people seem to not take xal'atath seriously because they think, oh wow, just another villain taunting us that we will defeat in our future raid tier. Well, that is actually not going to happen, and Chris Metzen literally told us that on BlizzCon and in an interview from a few months back. He 100% confirmed that xal'atath won't be the final boss of the War Within and that she is here to stay for the saga. She will definitely be a big part of Midnight, but very likely we might see her transitioning even as far as the Last Titan, where she might finally be defeated. Chris Metzen also confirmed that Illidan is definitely returning in the Last Titan 13.0, and by this extension, almost certainly Sargeras, which means if these guys have to come to Azeroth, something big is going to happen. There is going to be a big reason why it will be happening. The main thing that I think will catch everyone by surprise is that we will actually lose for the first time ever in World of Warcraft. Almost certainly we're going to lose by the end of the War Within because we know it is confirmed that the Void invasion is going to happen, but it seems like we're also going to be losing in Midnight as well, with the Last Titan completely raising the stakes as the most important WoW expansion ever, where we will fight for the literal survival of Azeroth, but this will now actually have some stakes as we have lost 2 times in a row, so it's realistic that we could lose once again. What I find now really interesting with the new context is that Eredikon already knew everything that would happen. He essentially just disappeared and told us, see you in Northrend when the Titans come, so he knew what was up even back in Dragonflight. However, by the way this expansion is gearing up, one of the main reasons why the War Within lore isn't all that interesting is because this is just chapter 1 that is building up the whole thing. The Undermine patch is really not all that exciting, even though we're finally getting the Golden City, but it looks like 11.1.5 and 11.2 are going to be the patch where they will really cook. Almost certainly these will be Void patches that will transition us from Khaz'lagâr to Quoth Alas, where the Void invasion will be happening through the Sunwell. We can of course only speculate how, but I feel like it will be connected to these crystals like Belladon, and also the fact that the Sunbelt already went crazy once when the Void Elves were near it. Dementius, the Master of xal'atath, is after us, and this guy generally doesn't invade like the Legion with ships and all that. From the invasion of Karesh, we knew he bathed the world in the void energies until it eventually exploded from the ethereal shields. Now, a quick throwback to BlizzCon. Chris Metzen told us this verbatim. You will not only help reunify the scattered elven tribes of Azeroth, but you will make your stand with the forces of the light and banish the shadow forever. Now, when you look at this, on first glance, this gives you hope, like, yeah, we just defeated the Void, so yeah, that's wrapping up all that xal'atath nonsense, but based on everything else, I think this will be beyond a Pyrrhic victory. This is going to be like wrapping up one thing and opening up Pandora's box next. He told us that we will now unravel the worldwide conspiracy that has been around Azeroth since forever, and then he told us this. In this chapter, you will again be returning to the old world, this time to the wintry lands of Northrend. And there, at Ulduar, you will bear witness to the return of the Titans to Azeroth. Now, keep this in mind, there is going to be a big reason, and I mean big reason why the Titans are going to have to come to Azeroth in person. This has to be an act of desperation, an act of imminent destruction of Azeroth that we will be caught in ourselves. I'm almost certain this worldwide conspiracy he's talking about relates to the Titan prison that was already really confirmed in the War Within with these archive questlines. A part of it is called the World Core. It is at the bottom of Kazakar. We will very likely see the entire thing by the end of this expansion. However, as we have figured out by now, the Titans are definitely the invaders and the conquerors of Azeroth. They had conquered Azeroth, put it in a chamber to awaken it as one of their own. They built so many mechanisms around it that it is insane, and they even had one in Ulduar with Algalon that would blow up the entire planet in a matter of a second in case the Void Corruption succeeded. Remember, we had actually disabled that mechanism. This is why I think the Void is going to maybe lose in the battle against the Light, but it will trigger the conversion, and then the Titans, knowing that this blow-up mechanism no longer works that they had before, they will have to come either themselves or see Azeroth as their arch-nemesis, the Void monstrosity that it will be converted into. So they're going to come to deal with it or trigger yet another failsafe mechanism that we hadn't seen yet. I talked about this in the previous videos, how the Asgard Citadel is much more than we think and much more than it appears on first glance. The Jailer apparently had artists create that mechanism that siphons the essence of Azeroth, but I'm almost certain this was built on top of a Titan prison or some very large Titan machine, and that there is definitely something crazy going on under Northrend, like one last Titan mechanism that only the Titans can access. Titans are all about order and failsafe mechanism after failsafe mechanism. Well, all of their mechanisms, keepers, watchers, armies, really failed so far, so they are coming for one last thing they planted on Azeroth. However, the main point is there is a reason Iridikron knew the Titans would come to Northrend. There is a reason we're all going to go to Northrend. It would be very naive to think that, you know, yeah, we wrap this up in Khazakar, we defeat Void and Qualta Las, now everything is fine and dandy, and then we're going to go with this expedition to Northrend. Like, this is not going to be an expedition. This is not like the expedition we had in Dragonflight. I'm almost certain that at the end of midnight there will be a catastrophe where going to Northrend is really our only option to save the world, so bad that even the Titans themselves had to come to salvage things out. However, don't think they're coming to save us from the conversion. They're coming to save their own project, and when they realize we don't want to be a part of this project and we discover this project and how it works, we will then have a very powerful enemy. So I'm super excited to see how this turns out in the end, as it really seems like Blizzard is really changing the way expansions work right now, and we might even be seeing that, you know, reset that people have been talking about. Thank you for watching. Check out how the Scourge is actually rebuilding in Northrend as we speak by clicking on the screen, and check out my raid channel by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.